Hello there. Things are pretty tough out there just now for everyone, but sometimes fate can deal you a good hand too. And some of that proved recently when I managed to get tickets to see Iggy Pop play Glasgow and Bruce Springsteen play Liverpool within 24 hours of each other. Anyone who saw either artist live would have been surprised for me to tell them that the gigs were absolutely outstanding. And even although the Iggy gig was indoors at the O2 Academy Glasgow with about 2,000 there, and the Springsteen gig was at Anfield outdoors with about 50,000, I thought there was quite a lot of similarities between the two gigs. And I thought it'd be interesting to share a few of those with you. Okay, number one, dead clear. They're not phoning it in. This isn't a greatest hits, Vegas style farewell tour from either artist. I'm not sure they've got it in them to do that, but both the artists and the bands were playing every song as if it was the first slash last time that they've ever played it. A couple of examples of that would be three or four songs in Iggy playing Gimme Danger, prowling about the stage, encouraging audience participation, and threatening to kind of stage bomb, which obviously he didn't do. But there was a real intensity very early on the gig from him. Springsteen did much the same with Atlantic City. It's generally a very quiet song, but when he plays it live, he's built it into a sort of band ensemble with a very strong kind of back tune on it, which supports the message. And he's very angry at the moment because of all the Trump stuff, and Atlantic City in particular. That kind of anger and emotion was clear to see. Both performances quite early on in their gig, and both clearly showing you that these are guys that aren't planning to phone it in. Number two, they have no barriers. There might be no crowd surfing anymore, but both artists couldn't do any more to engage with their audiences and make them feel part of a holistic experience. I suppose the main way they did that was spending time down the front. For Iggy, he was down in the sort of pit area, maybe four or five songs out of the 20 he played. And if he wasn't down there, he was threatening to be down there. Now, it felt quite intense. We were about halfway back and it felt quite intense. So I can only imagine what that felt like down the front with the audience at the barrier. Springsteen's famous for doing his crowd walks, and even in sort of later years now, I'd say maybe five or six times he done that. Probably the best example was when he played Promised Land, and there's a harmonica kind of outro at the end of the song, and he saw a young Scottish girl, it turned out, who was playing her own harmonica to the tune on her dad's shoulders, and they had a bit of a sort of harmonica off, and at the end of the song, Springsteen gave her the harmonica. And it's these things, it's these touch points between Iggy and his crowd and Springsteen's crowd. It's that thing that really engages with people and brings them to life for the rest of the gig. And it's quite interesting when they do that quite early on. Okay, number three, both have kick-ass bands. I think most people would know about Springsteen's E Street Band. They've been going a long time. Obviously, there's one or two changes and a few more of them now. But at its heart, it's still the same E Street Band that was going sort of 50 odd years ago. They were fantastic. Special mention to Niels Lofgren and the drummer Max Weinberg. Both were in top form. I don't think Iggy's band have got a name. If they don't have, they should. So feel free to suggest any names that might come off with that. Seven piece, and within the seven piece band, there was a horn section, trumpet and trombone, which were as good as any horn section I've seen for a number of years. And worth calling out, I think it was Leron Thomas and Corey King who were playing the horn section, and they reminded me quite a lot of kind of the really early Dexy stuff, where the horn section sounded as if it was picking a fight with everyone. And in a nice way, I think Iggy's horn section and the band in general had this kind of really nice attitude to them, very much complimented both Iggy and the songs on the night. So that was fantastic. Number four, interestingly, both artists like a bit of a crowd pleasing double whammy early to mid set. So with Iggy, that came out, I think, five song and six, I think it was, where he played The Passenger and then he played Lust for Life back to back. And even people around me were kind of quite surprised that he did that. Now, I don't know if that's a normal thing, but it was fantastic. And although the crowd were already into the gig, I think playing two of his biggest songs, which of course then encouraged lots of audience participation, if anything, it just raised the atmosphere and the engagement even more. Which, if you're only half an hour or so into a gig, is fantastic, and it sets you up for the rest of that. There was a really nice bit at the end of Passenger where the crowd started singing the song kind of a cappella, and Iggy kind of let them do that, and then smiled and gave a wee reference to how nice that was, which was good to see. Springsteen played Hungry Heart and The River, two of his sort of most famous songs. Hungry Heart generally has a big sing-along piece from the crowd, which it did, which is great with 50,000 there. The River obviously doesn't have that because it's a very down song, but it is a very famous song. So in their own way, the kind of crowd participation in that one's very strong as well. So again, both about 45 minutes or so into their set, and it very much set them up for the sort of final half, which were absolutely outstanding. I don't know if that's something I've learned over the years, but yeah, it was really nice to see. What else was there? Number five. I think if you ask most people what genre Iggy Pop or Springsteen were in, I think you'd probably put pop into some sort of proto-punk, garage, and then sort of punk genre, which is fair enough if you think about the Stooges and the songs they've been producing. Springsteen maybe more in the kind of classic rock with a bit of folk Americana, and their music pretty much would sit like that. I think when you see them live and you think about there's over 150 years of life experience going into the performances, the only genre I could put both the artists into is soul. 45, 46 songs and over 4 hours of musical soul performances. And it was wonderful to see. And I would challenge anyone to say that there's not a soul in the sound that they bring out in their songs, irrespective of what the kind of backbeat is at that point. And number six, the last one, I was at Iggy with my son Ross, who hadn't saw Iggy before and loved it. And I was at Springsteen with my other son Jack, who has managed to see Springsteen a couple of times. I wasn't alone. I think at both concerts, it was wonderful to see how much generational engagement there was. Father, sons, mothers, daughters, husbands, wives with kids there, or just pals maybe that have got different kind of age groups between them. But they were everywhere, arm in arm, punching the air at the more lively stuff, and just generally just absolutely loving what they're doing, watching these two soul legends leaving it all out there. Iggy finished with Fun Time, and Springsteen finished with Twist and Shout, which was quite nice, on the basis he was playing Liverpool for the first time. And you could see they both did have fun, but they were having fun with a cause. And you could see that it's important to them that, if and when they do finish, and I'm sure that will happen soon, that they want to make sure that they've left a legacy that will be remembered and revered by generations to come. And I'm sure it will. It was fantastic 24 hours. I couldn't be happier that I did it. If I had a chance to do it again tomorrow, I would. And if Carlsberg are looking for 24 hours with 2 gigs thrown in, I would actively encourage them to seek out Iggy and Bruce. Hope you enjoyed that. Until the next time, stay safe. All the best.